Traveling across Africa is a rewarding and life-changing experience. It will change you in more ways than one. Unfortunately, traveling across this continent is easier said than done. There are lots of things you will need to contend with while exploring our continent. I've been to 9 African countries so far, and here's how I plan my trips within the continent. This video is a must-watch for all prospective 2025 travelers, whether it's your first trip across the continent or your next. And by the end of this video, I'm sure you would have fallen in love with the idea and also fallen in love with the channel. Quick disclaimer, I'm a Nigerian, and that's why this video has heavy West African undertones. It covers my unique experiences as a Nigerian passport holder. Non-Nigerians will also find value in this video. I've only been to West and East Africa, so if you're interested in tips on other regions, I might not have the right advice for you at this point. Notwithstanding, most of the issues you will face while traveling across the continent aren't unique to individual countries. The languages may be different, the skin tone also, but the issues are far from unique. Are you ready to explore the continent? Let's dive into the video together. One of the most important and underrated things I always do, and I would advise everybody, is make friends beforehand. It doesn't matter if you're spending 3 days, 3 months, or 3 years. It's always nice to know people that can help you out or give you advice. I usually get a recommendation from current friends. During my travels, I've been able to make friends across countries. There's a bit of overlap. If I'm going to a new country, I can ask my friend group, hey, do you know anybody there? Can you link me up? Also, connections through social medias. I've been in space where people have similar experiences like travel groups and the like, and I make friends through this, especially if I'm going to the location where they live or where they frequent. Funny enough, I realized that dating apps also help. I know with Inge, if you go to a new country, or when I go to a new country, I can easily just bring out my Inge, set that I'm looking for friends in a new city, and I'll meet people that are willing to hang out or show me around. Also, I try to talk to people at the airport and tourist spots. People are almost always willing to talk. There's a sense of awkwardness that needs to be broken. Please consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video while you are here. It means a lot and supports the work we do on this channel. Next up, I always overplan. You cannot take chances, especially as a Nigerian. Some people suggest having a plan A and plan B, maybe a plan C, but I always say, why stop there? There are 26 letters in English alphabet. In my experience as a Nigerian, everything that can go wrong probably will. I also get tips from friends and locals. If I want to get an Airbnb, I'll just send it to my friend that lives in the city. It can be something as simple as, oh, the roads to that place aren't that great, or the location is too far, stuff like that. The little things that you would never know unless you live. When it comes to visas, I try to avoid visa on arrival as much as possible, even if my country is eligible for it, because when you get there, the story almost, I try to be flexible with accommodation. I pay for a couple days in a location with the possibility of extending, but I do not pay for more than 3 days. Exchange rate. Lots of countries have different exchange rates, one official and one black market. You don't want to get to the country, change your money at the airport only to find out that you could have gotten sent more by going to the streets and your money. There are also price differences. There are official price differences for locals and international. Do your research and keep all this in mind. I try to enter and discover niche travel forums. You will find hidden gems and peculiar information on this type of travel forum. It could be 4 or 5 years ago, but somebody has gone through what you're currently doing. Next up, what the immigration website says might be different from the reality. Probably is. Corruption remains a significant issue in many countries across the continent. Shout out to Rwanda for being the outlier so far on my travel. And as a Nigerian, expect significant profiling. There is negative profiling, there is positive profiling. I feel like the positive profiling is worse. I've gone to countries where people try to get money from the airport, or just because they believe that Nigerians are, and we all know the negative stereotype. Do you need a physical visa? Do you need an e-visa? Do you need a visa on arrival? Is it visa-free travel for your country? Or do you need a transit visa to go through certain countries? The last thing you want is to book your flight and then realize you need to pay for a transit visa. Also, learn what you can bring into each country. Some countries do not allow certain types of products, especially agricultural products. Do you need to get a doctor's report for your medication? What kind of medications are banned in the countries you are going? Learn all these and more. Please consider supporting my work by joining the channel. You can also give super thanks, or simply like and subscribe if that's a bit too much. However, I support, just support. Thank you. One thing I like to do on my trips is localizing myself. The way I prefer traveling is spending significant time in the locations I go. I'm not the kind of person that wants to go on a 5-day vacation. I end up localizing myself. You do not realize how much experience you are leaving on the table by not getting into the local vibe fully. You do not always have to make it obvious that you are a tourist. And as a black person traveling across Africa, I've been able to blend in most countries by simply keeping my mouth closed. Some countries have different prices for locals and internationals, especially at tourist locations, and I've gotten to pay local prices by simply keeping my mouth shut comfort and pain. You also get to enjoy more genuine experience, in my opinion, because people are more likely to relate with you on a personal level. You'll be surprised by what you find by venturing off the beaten path, but with guidance. Don't go to areas that you're not supposed to be at just because you want to be adventurous, or go with friends, go with locals, but venture off the beaten path. Get your requisite shot. I know you might be thinking you are rugged, oh, you are African, why do I need to get shots while going to certain countries? But no matter how rugged you think you are, try to visit your physician before you leave country, especially to a country that doesn't really have the best in truck. They might recommend certain things to you or certain shots before your trip. Getting travel insurance also helps. You do not want to be stranded in an hospital or a clinic in a random country without the means of pay. Neither do you know whether you will be conscious enough to pay. I tried to map out hospitals in areas that I'll be visiting as well as clinics, so I'm no more than a few hours away from an hospital or a clinic if need be. Nobody ever wants to use this, but always plan for it. Whenever someone reaches out to me saying they want to travel across Africa, I always ask them, do you want to go to Africa or do you want to go to Africa? There is a very big difference. I realize that certain types of people travel across the continent for the historical African thing, like safaris, going to waterfalls, basically natural and animal based stories, while some other people go to African countries because they heard that this city in a country is a very modern city, or is a very crazy city, or it has an exciting nightlife. Are you also going because you want white sand beaches and crystal clear ocean? What do you want to? You are not restricted to one or the other. You can do multiple, but when you are able to answer this question, you are halfway planning the best trip of your life. The Africa you see on the internet is characterized by poverty, and that certainly exists, but that's only one side of the coin. There's a side of Africa that is filled with opulence and incredible experience. An open mind will expose you to experiences you never thought possible. Cost of living is generally cheaper in Africa, especially if you are earning with a non-African currency, but there are certain things that are more expensive. A big example is air travel. Air travel is often more expensive within the continent and within countries due to insane taxes and demand and supply issues. It's not out of the ordinary for you to pay hundreds of dollars for a couple minutes flight. Premium hotels are also price foolish. I have been to locations and I've done my research on places whereby you can get decent hotels for $200-300 or less, but yeah, there are hotels that leave much to be desired and they charge at least $500. Keep that in mind when making your plan. Don't be taken advantage of. As with most other parts of the world, there are people that look at tourists as easy pickings and try to take advantage of you. Don't be scared to argue with vendors. They're probably giving you a foreign price. You might be at the airport, you might be with government officials, but also be careful of what they say and try to verify. They might try to take advantage of you not knowing better. Speak up and draw attention. You find yourself in a precarious situation, and learn bits of the language. Learning the local language often makes people happy and they might give you a better deal. When it comes to traveling to Africa, you are spoiled with choice. There are 54 countries on the continent and you can choose from any one of them, but odds are you're only considering maybe 10. There is something for everybody, and your next experience on the continent might be your best so far. Stay safe, have fun, respect local customs, have the time of your life, and when the time comes, return home. Click the video on screen now. I made it specially for you. Until the next video, your friend from the Ukodo YouTube channel wishes you love, peace, and prosperity.